I think we could test the morality of God, so to speak, as you call it, according to the morality that God has put inside of each one of us.
Okay, so according to that morality, what is the correct color to dress a baby in?
That is not a question that would bring harm to anybody, that would kill anybody, that would bring any harm to society.
Right, so how do you know that's objective?
How do I know? I already told you, I have a standard. You are the one who do not
You have a standard, so that is a claim that you're making. How do we test whether that standard that you have is objective or not?
For example, we could analyze the religion that gives that standard, but that would be a totally other discussion to prove that Christianity is
I'm not asking to prove Christianity, I'm asking about how we prove whether a moral or a moral value is objective or not.
I mean, if Christianity is true,
no,
then God...
Christianity's got nothing to do with it. Let's just stick with objective morals and objective moral values, which you claim exist. How do we test whether any claim, any moral or any moral value is objective?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think...
answer my question.
That question will give us the result. Do you think cannibalism is wrong?
No, I will stop you now. You asking me a question is not answering my question, nor does my answer have anything to do with the validity of your claim. Because I'll tell you now, if you persist in answering this question, I'm simply going to answer it yellow bananas. So my answer has got nothing to do with the validity of your claim. Substantiate your claim.
My question had anything to do because it come from the original argument.
How do we test whether a moral value is objective or not?
This is how we could test it. If you answer to me if you think cannibalism is wrong,
yellow bananas.
Do you know what I'm asking you this?
Yellow bananas.
If we could not have
a
discussion
now from that
this,
answer we have worked out whether morality is absolute or not, Vyckro. Can you explain how that works, please?
Yes, I don't think you actually need the answer, Vic. I think you just need to explain how that fits into an appropriate answer. So, regardless of what DPR would actually say to this, how does his opinion alone create objectivity? Or anyone's opinion?
I ask cannibalism for a certain reason, because this is the original argument that is used by Craig and many others, and the original argument was put forward by Dostoevsky in Brothers Karamazov, when in one moment he said, if God will not exist, everything would be possible, including cannibalism.
That's not an
cannibalism is not
cannibalism is possible.
It's a nice recounting of a literary work. Now will you answer the question?
If any person who is watching us right now could ask this question to himself and will say that cannibalism is wrong, therefore God exists and morality.
But I wouldn't say that
cannibals do exist. Does that mean that God doesn't?
And is something wrong? Do you agree with me that cannibalism is wrong?
Well, cannibals clearly don't.
This is exactly what we predicted earlier. This is always the setup when you start down this path of objective morality, is people confusing universal or nearly universal for objective, and they are not the same thing, Vic.
I would like to come back on the cannibalism issue because there was a film that came out many years ago called Alive, which replayed the story of a aeroplane crashing, I think, was it the Andes? I can't be sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And some of the people survived and some did not. And their hope of being saved was very limited. After a while, there came a point where they were literally starving. And there was an issue of whether they should eat the bodies of the people who had died in the crash. Are you saying that to keep yourself alive in those extreme circumstances, that it is absolutely wrong to eat another person? Because I would not make that judgment.
I think it's wrong.
Right, well, that's your opinion. So, again, where does this get us? I don't agree with it. It's yellow bananas again. How does this get back to the original question? And I'm sorry, Vic, I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'll go back to the original question. How do we test whether a moral or a moral value is objective or not?
By comparing that morality with the morality inside us, with the morality that God has put in each one of us.
White noise. Doesn't make any sense to me.
This is the theist answer. What other answer? Do you have any other answer for an objective morality?
No, I'm not arguing for an objective
claiming
morality.
that there is one,
so I have to tell you that.
Then you should not feel. Then you should not feel that the murder or cannibalism or anything else would be wrong.
That is an absolutely absurd argument to say that I do not believe in moral, objective moral values. Therefore, I accept that murder is perfectly okay. Is a non sequitur. It is a non-starter of an argument. It's an appalling argument. Is that the best you can come up with?
Let's just watch what the other two guys have said. For example, Michael Payton, I think his name is, has brought an argument for morality. That because, when he answered early, that because most people believe that, therefore it must be true. So you are reaching to things like that. For example, Concordance has said a lot of rubbish, that if we would follow the Bible, we would be very bad. But that is not the case, because our modern society, Western society especially, was built with the Bible on the table, for example. And D.P.R. Jones could tell us all about it when I'm going to tell him that I'm thinking about a Roman emperor named Justinian, who has recodified the entire Roman law with the Bible in one hand and basically the law of the Romans in the other hand. And from that we have our juridical principle of our modern society.
Yes, and I can tell you that none of what you have just said in any way addresses the question that I initially posed to you.
Yes, it addresses, because all of you are the product of the Western society that was influenced by the Bible. So without even understanding...
The fact that even if I accept everything you say as true, it goes no way to answer that question. And I'm sorry, I will repeat it again. How do we test whether a moral or a moral value is objective?
I already said to that. I could say, banana, I do not know what you have said before, because I already given
I don't think we're
answer.
getting anywhere with this. Anyone else want to pick up a point?
Look, Vikram. You said that this great question about is cannibalism right or wrong determines, that shows you that there is an absolute morality. Well, why did you pick on cannibalism rather than what colour children should wear? Why did you choose one than the other? Why?
Because that was the original argument from Dostoevsky, that Craig and many other Western
I don't care what Dostoevsky said, right? Why did you choose cannibalism rather than the colour that children wear?
I already told you.
No, you didn't.
I reverse the classical argument for morality, and I reverse it, the actual argument that you could read it in Dostoevsky. This is why I choose, because it's a classical argument, and I put it backwards.
You've said 3 times it's a classical argument, but you've not said what it is.
I told you what it is. This is why I have chosen it.
You didn't.
I'll answer the question for you, Vic. The reason that you chose cannibalism is because, like Craig, you use very emotive subjects. He normally uses Nazis and rape and the Holocaust. You happen to choose cannibalism. And the reason you did so is because you thought that you would get a universal response. And out of that universal response, you thought you could somehow argue objectivity. It doesn't follow. But that's why you use that argument. And you know damn well that's why you use the argument.
And I don't see
that's why he uses Nazis and rape.
I don't see why, if God is the whatever God's character is what is morally correct, why there isn't a morally why you can only have these absolute moralities are things that are biological necessities. For instance, there is nothing in the Bible that says that cutting the arms off your baby is wrong. And yet, no one does it because one of the most hardwired biological behaviors that you have is that parents care for their children. And yet there is nothing...
Except the genitalia.
Yeah, okay.
The Bible does say to love your neighbor as your clothes.
The Bible says a lot of
cherry picking, Vic.
For instance, it says that people will be burned alive forever. So when the Old Testament, you think that that's all now expired, yes?
Yes.
So
yes.
The Ten Commandments is expired.
No, the Ten Commandments.
You just said the Old Testament is expired. The Ten Commandments is in the Old Testament.
And you interrupted me.
No,
I said that are still valid because of the two commandments left by Jesus. That is to love your God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. On that two commandments stand all the laws of the prophets and the Ten Commandments also.
So when Jesus says, I have not come to change one jot or tittle of the law, he wasn't talking about the Old Testament.
That's Matthew 5:17 and 18, if you...
Basically, he said, I do not come to change the law, but fulfill it. And this is what he has done. He has fulfilled it after he's dead.
He's not come to change the law, but...
Hang on. I'm not quite sure how you can fulfill the law. Right? These laws are about the behaviors of individuals with other individuals. How does Jesus fulfill the law? So, for instance, if you have the commandment, don't kill your neighbor, how does Jesus fulfill the law?
Because the law has predicted the coming of a Messiah that would bring something new. So basically,
hang on. So what? That made no sense, vyckro. How does having a law that you shan't kill someone else? Or no, let's take an even better commandment that if you steal an ox, then you shall return 4 ox, or if you steal a sheep, you shall return 5 sheep. Because God was very specific about that in the Old Testament. Now, how does
this
Jesus...
is very easy to answer. There was a covenant made with the Jew. This new covenant is made with the entire humanity. So basically, if you are a Jew Christian, that question would be valid. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Jew. My nation never had...
How did Jesus fulfill the law?
He fulfilled the law by dying on the cross and resurrecting the third day.
That doesn't make any sense. How does dying on a cross fulfill the law?